Hey guys, we are live. Sorry, we had a little hiccup earlier, but we are live right now. My name is Daniel. Let's see, let's bring this up down. And then, hey, there's my name right now. I am the family pastor here at Max Students, and we've got a special treat for you tonight. My youth pastor growing up, and he's not that much older, so he's not like super old, but he's old, but he's still cool, whether he knows it or not, and whether other people think so. I think he's cool, and I think this is I've been wanting to do this ever since we started this daily devotional thing. Is get my youth pastor Matthew Britt. We all call him Matt Britt. We actually all call him Boo, but that's because he looked like Boo Boo from Yogi the Bear, or he did. He doesn't anymore. He looks like super ripped, and and I promise you that I will try to be professional. I will try to be pastoral during this, but I bet you there's just going to be a lot of laughing. I love this guy so much. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll probably try to wait till later to say some of this kind of stuff, but I attribute a lot of my walk with Christ to him and his wife, Carrie. I love them dearly. I love them so much, and I just am thrilled that they were in my life for the years that, and they're still in my life. But when he came into my life when I was 14 or something, he just kind of blew the doors open and really introduced me to this relationship to God. And so I think it's a special treat that we get to talk to him tonight, and be able to kind of pick his brain about ministry, about student ministry and stuff. The cool thing is that he is now he's not the youth pastor at the church that he's at anymore. He's now the lead pastor. And so some would say he's a real pastor now. And so so we'll get to talk with him, see how that's different and things like that. But y'all give it up for let's see. Let me see if there you go. Give it up for Matt Britt.
Hey, yeah, Matt, I can hear the applause. I can hear it all the way from Ohio.
Yes. Let me see if I got that. And there we go. All right. So, Matt, I have us both on two screens right now. They can see you. They can see me. Let me see. Let me make sure my feed is going on. I'm on the Facebook right now, making sure that we're good to go.
On the Facebook.
And, I can hear the applause. Oh, yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I can hear the delay on the Facebook.
There we go. Okay. So, Matt, I had some questions that I want to ask you. Ministry and things of that nature. First of all, I told him a little bit about yourself, but can you tell him maybe how long you've been in ministry, how long you and Carrie have been in ministry, and what have you been doing in that span of a few years that you've been in ministry?
Yeah, sure. So Carrie and I came to New Life Church in 1999. That's before pretty much most of you were born, and we came as interns in the youth department, assistant, as Dwight would say it, assistant to the youth pastor is what we were. And so we came and served under Mark Davis there, which is where we first met you. And after that, after a couple of years, we became the youth pastors there. Mark went on to lead pastor, and we've been there for 20 years. And after 20 years, our lead pastor retired from pastoral ministry, and then we were voted in as lead pastors at New Life back in actually July, and then our first month in ministry as lead pastor was the first week of August. So it's been an incredible journey, an awesome ride. People ask me all the time, "Man, I appreciate your longevity. How did you stay in youth ministry so long at the same place, man? What's that like? Tell me what you were hearing from the Lord." I'm like, well, I heard from the Lord, stay. Because if he told me anything different, I would have done that, So I think the key to longevity is hearing from God and doing what he tells you to do. So that's what we've tried to do. And I believe that's why the Lord led us to that place for so long, and kept us there as lead pastors now. And we're loving it. It's fantastic. The church is absolutely empty on Sundays right now. Not a soul in it. Nobody comes to church at all.
You're doing a great job as lead pastor.
I really feel like we're really, really breaking down some social barriers there. I hope that that's mostly because of the coronavirus right now. That's what I'm believing.
Would think so.
Yeah, I mean, so. Yeah. But no, and even that, you know how that is right now. It's like we're all learning brand new things.
We
It's
are.
like
Yeah,
a
I've
lot of fun.
become fluent in live streaming and
Right.
Facebook Premiere and YouTube. I've become I it's like I speak a whole nother language now.
Yes. It
Something I
went
didn't
from
something
wouldn't it
I
be
didn't want to have to fool with until maybe a few months from now.
sure, yeah.
I've had to learn very quickly. I'm very thankful for YouTube and all that kind of stuff and Facebook groups to kind of help me. But man, um, yeah, our churches are empty too on Sundays. I don't know what they're so empty. I'm not even here.
Right?
Um, so I do want to ask you about youth ministry. What really, when looking back at the 20 something odd years that you've been in ministry, and most, like I said, really less than a year, you all but less than a year of that has been in youth ministry.
Yes, for sure.
What did you love about youth ministry? And yes, I understand that it was God's call and God's and God told you to stay and all that kind of stuff. But like, what really kept you in youth ministry, or what did you love most about youth ministry?
So I think youth ministry, the unique thing about youth ministry is that the connection that you get with a student is different, really, to me than any other level. I had the privilege of doing children's ministry for a couple of years at our church as well. The kids laugh at your jokes a little bit more. You know, they think you're funnier and cooler than you really are, and so it's like an ego boost. But students are real. You know, they'll speak really straight with you, and the connection side of things that we had with students, I loved. It was it was the best part of youth ministry, either in worship or at the altar or just in a conversation. My favorite thing about youth ministry was just connecting with students and having that interaction where you recognize you were connecting with them on a human level and on a spiritual level at the same time.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's really what kept me coming, is that, you know, I is that relationship that I think that you're talking about, that human level. Even as a teenager, you know, we're about 8 years. How are we 8 years apart? Less than that.
Yeah, I'm 43.
Okay, 43. I'm 35. Am I 30? Yeah, I'm 35.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure you are.
Am I 35? Yeah, I'm 35 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to do the math. So we're not that different, but when you came, I mean, it was just your personality and everything that really drew me into, and I think, and then on top of that, when you got me involved in stuff and kind of tugged at me to start getting involved in stuff, then it was the responsibility of, hey, people are looking at me and stuff. But I would have never have gotten involved in stuff if it wasn't for the relationship that we had. And I think all the, you know, from all the, oh man, if you think about it, what, dozens of students, not really, would it be hundreds?
No, we're at dozens of students that are in full-time ministry right now. Yeah. Is that where you were headed?
Well, I mean, like in the 20 years that you've been in ministry.
Oh yeah.
You've probably, I mean, like hundreds of students have been in and out.
That's right.
You know, whether they entered in middle school and they graduated or something like that. But I mean, just think about that. I think with all those, there was that awesome connection that you had. You and Carrie are just so relatable and just really awesome. And so, okay. Moving forward. Saying all that, the next question is, who is your favorite student?
That's a super easy question. It was Casey Walton. She is my favorite student of all time. No.
Next question. Why was I not your favorite student?
Right. Actually, I wrote down on that one, that's an easy answer as far as who's your favorite student, and that was all of them. There are students that get on your nerves from time to time, just because there are people who get on your nerves from time to time. And if you say anything less than that, you're just lying, and that's a sin, right? So you shouldn't do that. And I'm sure I got on students' nerves more often than not. So that's just part of a relationship. But everybody's so unique and different, you know, and I think just of your core group that you were surrounded with, every one of them had such different personalities and just the way that they approach life. And so it's great to connect with each one of them individually, but at the same time, it was cool just to see how God used me in connection with them, but then also how God used our students throughout the years, just to watch God pour into their life. So to answer your question, why you were not my favorite student, it has to do with you hitting me in the nose with an umbrella.
I was just about to bring that up.
That's the simplest solution. I still have a bump on my nose right here that will never go away ever. It's a scar for all of eternity.
Scars means there's a story behind it.
That's right. Carrie said that you were her favorite student, though. So,
yay, Carrie!
Yes.
Carrie, you were my favorite youth pastor.
I don't like you much now.
She said back then, not now, not current, but back then you were the best. Yeah. So,
okay, yay! Some fake honesty from Carrie. I appreciate that. All right, so I think we talked about the favorite part about youth ministry, but do you have any? And getting hit in the nose with a pop-up umbrella is not one of these. But what, like, favorite moments of ministry? Really, and it could be even as a lead pastor now. You can include something like that. But like looking back, I mean, what were some favorite moments of ministry?
Sure. So overall, like just in general, my favorite moments of ministry are altar times. I just love it. Like there's something about having an encounter with the Lord, with a student or a person in the altar where you can feel this is a God moment. This is something that I believe is going to change them forever. Just this one opportunity, this one place. And so I think overall, that's kind of in general, that's my favorite moment is that my cat's sitting on my papers and I can't see him. And now he's going to start chewing on them. But specifically about youth ministry, I have a few things that I loved. One of those was drama practice. I love drama practice. We got to be serious and silly at the same time. Usually Carrie was telling us, hey, we got to get this done, but I have so many memories that are tied back to a human video practice or a drama practice. We spent more time with students through fine arts than anything else we did. And that was so huge in the connection side of things, because when you're locked into a room with somebody, well, not locked, but when you're in that place for 3 hours, you're going to learn a lot about each other, how you handle stress and how you deal with one another. And then there's going to be moments where you can feel, hey, so-and-so's having an off day, and you can just kind of sense that. And so for me, that opportunity to connect with students in drama practice was really cool. The second thing,
I'm sorry, there's a cat just out my window right now.
I was like, what is happening over there?
Yeah, it's something went by my window, and I was like, oh my gosh. I just don't want it to pop up and like try to scare
I don't think he could get in the window.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I think
we're good.
I think cats
and I think you had a second part of that, but I want to talk. So drama practice and stuff, what he's talking about, guys, is fine arts. And so we would start fine arts practice. We had different categories back then. Well, I mean, they're the same categories now, but you had human video, you had drama stuff, which is kind of like skits, plays, like short plays and things like that. Even like worship team and things like that.
Yeah.
And so for the team aspects of that, you had to practice a lot because it was a lot of choreography when it came to the human videos and skits and all that kind of stuff. So we would, for weeks, what is it, Sunday afternoons? No.
Yeah, we do Thursday nights.
That's right.
And then when we would get closer, we'd do Saturdays and Sunday afternoons. Yeah. And that's back when we were having Sunday night church. So we'd meet after church on Sundays. This is crazy, right? Just to think back, we would meet after church on Sundays. We would eat lunch and we would practice until 4 or 5 o'clock, just enough time for everybody to rest for a little bit and then go right into church at 6. We were insane, man. Just wild.
It was. And it was, looking back, like I hear of students and people talking about, there's no more Sunday night services and all this kind of stuff. Like, when I'm bored, I don't know what it is. I was like, man, I was at church almost every night back when I was growing up. Yes. Because those opportunities were there. I think because Monday or Tuesday, we would do practice for the youth group band.
Yep.
And then Wednesday night service, and then Thursday drama practice, and I'm sure there was something else going on, and then And if I wasn't practice or something like that, I would just come up there and bug you,
That's right.
on my way home.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so yeah, those and I'm with you, man. Those were some of the. Now I'd have to have some help remembering them, but I do remember doing having the fine arts practices, having those times of camaraderie and relationship building, and then getting yelled at for not paying attention enough.
Right, of course. Yes. And then win in first
But
place
yeah,
for
those
a drama
were
where you just
definitely the times where you just kind of you are stuck with people and you build relationships like that. And I think that's look at the times that we are now. We're stuck at home, and most of it's with our family. Hopefully you're not gallivanting around and doing anything like that. You're staying home and staying healthy and stuff like that. But I mean, you are stuck with the people that you're stuck with, and so it can get a little stir crazy. At the same time, though, I want you students at home and anybody really watching this, you have an awesome opportunity to build relationships with your family, to go with your siblings to a deeper level of relationship. Yeah, they're your brother or your sister. Yes, they're going to annoy the heck out of you sometimes, but you do during this time have an opportunity to love them and to show patience, which is huge and really hard to do, but I think it's doable.
With that in mind about siblings, would you tell the story about when your parents asked you to take down the Christmas lights and then you talked to your sisters about it? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, no, I don't.
They left you a note.
The Christmas lights in my house?
Yeah, they left you a note to take down the Christmas tree or Christmas decoration, something like that, in the morning. So you woke up, saw the note, and then you went to Katie and Amy and you said, "Hey, Mom and Dad want y'all to take down the Christmas decorations today." Do you not remember this?
No.
Oh, this is a sign of your age. Yes, it's my favorite story because they just did it without question. And then your parents came home and you got praised for something they did.
And then what?
You got praised for something they did. Like they were like, "Oh, thanks for doing all that." You're like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, I took care of it. I was.
You've been a
I thought that's what they were
the
telling me, to make sure that it gets done. They didn't say that I had to. No, I told them that it does sound like something I would do, and I didn't do that kind of stuff a lot. But when I did it, it worked.
Right.
No, I totally forgot about that. My mom and dad will probably remind me of that later.
I'm sure they will.
So, okay. So I interrupted you earlier. Oh, Mom said, she said, "I remember."
Yes. I'm validated. That's all I need. Validation. Thank you,
man.
Kathy. Thank you.
Oh, geez. Okay. So I think you were, before I interrupted you earlier, you were about to say your second favorite part of ministry, favorite moment.
Two more things. One, and this is hard to admit because I hate them now, but I loved lock-ins. Man, I loved them. You see a different side of somebody at 3 a.m., It's just like all of a sudden the world changes for them. I loved it. I loved doing lock-ins, and I loved just that opportunity that, hey, look, we're here and we could do whatever we want. We'd play hide and seek, and we would, put holes in sheetrock and all kind of stuff that happened. And so it was just, it was wild times. But then there were midnight worship services where it would just get, like really real all of a sudden. So, and you can't experience that except at a lock-in. So, and then of course it's like, no, you can't go lay down. Nobody goes to sleep. Nope. Sorry. No. And you definitely can't lay on that person when you go to sleep. Absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
Keeping all the lights on, Yeah. So
in fact, guys, we're going to move you to this room. Girls, we're going to move you.
That's right. Yes.
We did talk because we mentioned, we talked about Speed the Light earlier this year and talked about what we can do and things. And, I think this COVID-19 thing has put a wrench in that. We'll figure something out eventually. But we talked about different a-thons we could do.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "What's that?" And I said, I said, "You've never heard of a rock-a-thon?"
I said,
"You've never had somebody yell at you for not rocking while you're playing a video game?"
One of our last, maybe the 2 years before we ended in youth ministry, we did a rock-a-thon. We brought it back. And one of our students, she goes, "I've never heard of this idea before." And her dad said, "Oh my gosh, we used to do those all the time when I was a teenager." And I'm like, "That's right." And so we brought back a rock-a-thon. Everybody brought their rocking chairs, and you force them to rock the whole night. And then, of course, Xbox made that a whole different thing. Everybody's, playing Call of Duty and Fortnite, and we're rocking. So, but it was fun. It was good times.
Yeah, back in my day, it was Nintendo 64
Well, the real Nintendo.
and Mario.
That's the only real one for sure. So
Well, really,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, GameCube. Okay. So in the span of your ministry, I think some of us pastors out there, we kind of have not really a mantra, but something that maybe like a mission, something that really drives us. It's like if I could preach one thing over and over again to students, or if I could preach one thing over and over to people, it would be this.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Jesus loves you. God has planned for you, things like that. But is there something else that kind of kept you, like, in your ministry, the main thing that you wanted to get across to people?
Well, one of the things, and I didn't hear it until later in youth ministry, we were at Deeper, which is our discipleship weekend in January, and the speaker said, your job as a youth pastor is not to make great 13 and 14-year-olds, but to make great 30 and 40-year-olds who are following Jesus. That's success. And it really,
I think I was there at that one, because I remember hearing something like that too.
Yes. And so for me, it was Rod Whitlock that said it. And for me, it really defined what I was looking for in youth ministry all those years. Is we're going to have a great time. You're going to goof off. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things the right way, and we're going to do things absolutely the wrong way. We're going to play a game that nobody loves, everybody hates. I'm going to plan an event that you come to just because you love youth ministry and Jesus, and you hate every minute of being there. Like, why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, all of those things, they fashion us into who God wants us to be down the road. One of the things that I would always say at our grad banquets were, parents, you have spent your lives packing your kid's suitcase, and now they're about to leave home, and they're going to begin to take out of that suitcase what you've poured into it. And I think that really just defined for me, that's what youth ministry is, that I have sometimes just a year, sometimes just months with a student, but on a grand scale and in a great moment, sometimes I get 4 years with a student to pack as much as I can of the Lord into their suitcase, so that when they go out of youth ministry into adulting, then they have something that sustains them and helps them realize, hey, look, this is what life is all about. Because sometimes we hear something at one season in our life and we don't even get it, right? Like, we're like, I mean, that's cool what you're saying, but there's nothing that applies to us about that. And then down the road, you're like, oh yeah, I remember you said this, and now I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
it's because maybe we're not in the moment of our life that we need to be in to have that resonate with us.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think that's good, because students who are watching, really anybody who's watching, you might hear something on a Wednesday night or on a Sunday morning, and you're like, man, this is the lamest thing ever. But really, I think, and listen, I'm pretty lame. Our John is, we know that we're we be lame on purpose. We're lame on purpose, but everything we're saying, we believe wholeheartedly. And so we're trying to let you know, as hard as we can, the topics that we're talking about and the Bible verses and all that kind of stuff. So I'm encouraging you to let it sink in, even these daily devotionals. Let them sink in. And I know that we're in a point of life with technology and everything, that everything comes our way. We are bombarded with messages all over the place. So I think the real big, the task at hand is to let the right things in.
Yeah.
And so, Wednesday morning or Wednesday night, Sunday mornings with Pastor Adam, it's a great moment to let things sink in, the right kind of things to sink in. And I'm not against movies. I'm not against music or all that kind of stuff. I can quote movies more than I can quote Bible verses sometimes. But and it's one of those things. But I've always tried my best to let the right things in. What's funny, Matt, is that the children's pastor at the church that I grew up in, and the guy that was on staff with you, Tim Jones, would always say this: garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, that's it.
And so I really do think that with so much coming in, at your age, students, that you've got to make sure the right stuff is coming in, because you never know when you're going to need it. And like Matt was saying, something might not resonate with you now, but you'll go through something in life, whether it's a tribulation or a trial or one of those things, like kind of like what we're going through now. And you'll remember, oh, a few weeks ago, they were talking about this at Max Students, or Pastor Adam mentioned this on a Sunday morning a few months ago. Yeah, that really kind of resonates with me now, that I can relate to that. So I really do. Students, I want to encourage you to let garbage in, or not, don't let garbage in. Remember that if garbage comes in, that garbage is going to come out. So we need to make sure that we're letting the right stuff in.
Well, I would add to that just to take notes. Like the stats say, you remember 30% of what you hear and 60% of what you hear and write down. And so it doubles your retention rate just by writing something down.
Oh, yeah.
And the cool thing is nowadays, if students, I've got a journal. Here's mine. It's in this cool little thing. But I think the cool thing with students is if they'll do it on their phone and their notes app, that's searchable. So down the road, you're like, something you said something about, I don't know, fear. I can't remember it. You just type in fear, and I've got to thumb through pages to find mine. But either way works. Just taking that time to go, you know what, this may not mean something to me now, but something about it resonates, like hits a string on me, and so I'm just going to write it down. Hits a string is what all the cool kids are saying nowadays. So
hits a string. Yeah. See, that's one of the things that I have not done well, is keep up with the lingo. I've always been, the word bet.
Oh yeah, bet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it's, hey man, you want to go do that? Bet. And that even might be old school now. I think I've missed the train on that.
A little bit.
But I was always against that word. I was always like, no, don't say that. No, don't say that. That doesn't mean anything. No. That was the old man in me is going, no, we don't say that.
That's right. No,
he's
use
like,
your real,
hey guys, you want to go bet? Like, no.
Yeah, you get in trouble real fast if you try to keep up with lingo, because it changes so fast nowadays. It's like, nope, I'm just going to be me.
Yeah, I know how old I am now. Okay, this is not one of the questions I sent you to think about ahead of time, but I do want to ask you, because I know the moment for me. When was the first moment where you said, "Yep, I'm old"? When you're trying to relate to students.
Yeah, so this was before Saved by the Bell hit Nick at Night or whatever, and I made a Saved by the Bell reference, and kids, I mean, it was just crickets. Everybody just kind of looks at me, and they're like, "What are you talking? Who is Zach?" And I'm like, "Y'all don't know who Zach and Kelly is? What's wrong with you? Are you out of your mind?" And then it just kept happening. I'd give a Dumb and Dumber quote, and kids would just look at me. I'm like, "Y'all don't know, but that's comedy gold right there. That's good stuff, and you have no idea. Yeah. So when my references started to get a little out of date, that's when it really sunk in. I'm old.
Yeah. For me, it was, I did a Chris Farley bit. I started talking about motivational speaker, living in a van down by the river, and nothing.
Yeah,
nothing. I said, I think, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that I went, "Oh no," like out loud. because I realized that I've arrived. I have arrived
there.
in that moment.
I'm there. That's right.
Yeah, so,
yes.
And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't as old as I wanted to be in that moment. I was younger than I wanted to be.
You're like, I was thinking I had 6 or 8 more years before this ever came.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, man, at least let me get 30. So you are married.
I am married, yes, to the love of my life.
Yeah. Yes. And so y'all kind of, for y'all, it was like a whirlwind when y'all got married and started doing ministry together, because I think you were already at the church as an intern, and then was she finishing school?
Yeah, Carrie. So we both graduated in 1999. But we got engaged that year, and I was at the church in May of 99, and Carrie didn't come until June of 2000 when we got married. She came on trips and all, came up a couple of times, but or over. She's from South Carolina, but so yeah, it was just about a year span there where, or a little over a year, where I was single doing youth ministry. And that was interesting. And then, yeah, we hit the ground running. So we got married, went on our honeymoon, came back from our honeymoon and went to camp. And then like the next week, and then the week after that, we were back at church. And then the week after that, we were at camp again. We did 2 camps that year. And so our first month of marriage, 2 of those weeks were at camp. So fun and exciting times.
So students, if you want your marriage to succeed, go to camp a lot.
Amen. Amen. God bless. Yeah.
So what has been, because I'll tell you, I love Carrie. She was a huge influence on my life, and I don't know if she can hear me.
She can't. So that can be genuine from you.
Okay, good.
You're not getting any brownie points for that. I'll make her go watch it later.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully, maybe she'll watch it later. But I do. I mean, I like, Carrie's was huge in my life, and my just the same as you were in spiritual upbringing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm, like I said earlier, I'm hugely indebted to both of you. So knowing that, and I think it was like now that I'm in the ministry with my wife and things like that, and we do things kind of together. So looking, like now or now, where am I getting? So really, what's the ministry with your wife versus alone?
So the best part of it is that I have an instant sounding board. That's great, because you have somebody who goes, "Hey, that was awesome what you did right there," or "That was dumb. Why would you do that?" or "Why did you say it like that? You should have said it different." That's a really cool part of doing ministry, is because both of you were in the moment and both of you have the same goal in mind to minister to students. So it wasn't like she was looking at it differently than I was. We were looking at it the same. She might have seen something different than I did, or she goes, "Man, you knocked it out of the park right there. That's exactly how you should have said that and how you should have dealt with that. I was really proud of you. That was awesome." The other thing was, for me, Carrie was all in ministry. I remember when we were dating, we were trying to decide where to go. We had a few opportunities that were on the table for us in college, and she was just frustrated one day. I'm like, "What is it?" And she said, "I just want to know where we're going." And I'm like, "Well, I'm praying about that, And she said, "Look, I'll follow you to Alaska. I'll follow you to the end of the world. It doesn't matter to me." She said, "I just want to know where we're going." And so we prayed about it in the car right there and made a decision. And for me to have somebody that goes, "Hey, this is what I feel like the Lord's telling me. What's he telling you?" And for us to kind of do ministry together like that, for her to get a thought or a feeling in her spirit about something, and I go, "Man, I've been thinking that too," or "Wow, I didn't see that. That's good. Let me consider it and pray about it," has helped so much, because it just gives you another set of eyes and ears on this greatest gift that God's given you of ministry, and you go, "Wow, this is somebody that I can see." She relates to students totally different than me, and if we're being honest, totally better than me on a lot of levels. There were so many times students would walk in, I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" They're like, "Good. Where's Carrie?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, she's over there." And so they wanted to talk to her, because I'm always "Hey, everything's gonna be okay. You're good. You got this." And Carrie would shoot straight with them, like, "You're being an idiot. You need to straighten up," and students like to hear that, and so, and the wisdom and guidance that she had, it made all the difference in the world when she entered into ministry with me. And so for me, I was indebted to it. I'd say this for students. I know there's a lot of things that you consider and look at when you're dating someone, but who they are in the Lord is what matters the most. That's just hands down, because those are the things that are going to stand out when your world is falling apart and you're like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this." That it's going to be that moment that they step up and go, "Hey, let me pray," or "We need to pray about this." Or when you're in that moment where you're like, "Hey, what do you think we should do?" I don't want to hear our best ideas, because sometimes our best ideas are dumb. I want to hear what the Lord's saying. And when you have somebody else that's in your corner that's saying those things with you and seeking with you, that's what makes it all the difference in the world.
Totally agree. I I'm going to echo that with my life. My ministry, I think, has been 10 times better because, or if not more, because of my wife and her love for God, her love for the church, and her love for me. And I also would you say Carrie's strong opinion?
Very opinionated.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely she is.
Liz is too, and so she's been able to kind of, you know, like if something's going on, sometimes I don't see it from a different angle. I don't see it I see it from my angle, and so because she sees it in another angle, if from a totally different mindset, it helps me see things totally differently, and sometimes most of the time better.
Yeah, for sure. Carrie is she's the rule follower. She's the rule maker and the rule follower. And we do not break rules when Carrie's around. Now, when Carrie's not there, we might bend them some, but it's
At camp when it comes to camp.
That's right. Yeah. Jonathan Borden always says, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. So this is a thought.
Come on.
I'm just saying. I didn't say we cheated. We never did, but he did for sure. The cool thing about doing ministry with someone who sees those things is that she's helped me not get in a bind when we could have, because we were just flying by the seat of our pants. And she's like, we need to really consider this and think about it. She's also been the one that stood up for me and said, because I'm quick to apologize. And I remember one time having a conversation and I apologized. And I got off the phone and she looked at me and said, why did you apologize? And I'm like, oh, I felt like I needed to. And she's like, you need to call him back and say, hey, look, I apologize for how that happened or how it made you feel, but I don't apologize for my actions. And I did. And it solidified that relationship with that person. And I was like, wow. Yeah. It's just cool to see how God puts those things together in our lives. He gives us exactly what we need. That's what he's done with you and Liz. Like, he gives you exactly what you need. And in some ways that you don't even realize that you need it in those moments. When you're dating, you're just like, oh yeah, man, she's hot, I'll date her. And we like the same things. And God's got such a deeper plan. So,
well, this, what was I going to say?
It was going to be good too.
Man, it was going to be great. It was going to be fantabulous.
So good.
Oh man, I should have written it down.
You would remember
it. We kind of talked about this earlier. Like, what was that one message that you want to, that you wouldn't want over and over again for your students? But like right now, in this moment that we're in, where we're kind of quarantined, we're kind of stuck, and it seems like, we've been preaching so many times that, we're going to choose faith over fear. We're not going to let whatever's happening around us control our lives. We're going to be able to have that faith, knowing that God is in control and things like that. So if you could maybe talk, I know you've mentioned this to your church a lot over the last few weeks, but for like our students, for our students here and anybody that's watching, what would be, kind of a word of encouragement for them during this time?
Yeah, sure. So, for me, I think one of the things I would want to that I feel like students need to know is be part of the family. Don't just isolate yourself in your room. Acts 17 says Acts 16 says God knew the exact times and locations where we would live. In Him we live and move and have our being. So that's saying that God knew exactly where we would be right now. That I'd be on this conference call with you over video. That students would be quarantined to their houses for these months. They would be in the family that God placed them in. Think about it. You could be in any family in the world, and God put you in that family. And so many times that comes across as a negative thing, like, well, yeah, you don't know my family. True. I mean, look, I get it. Every once in a while, you need to take a walk around the block, right? 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're a part of that family, and God chose you to be a part of that family. So be in it, man. Get involved and do things that are outside of the norm right now. if it's playing a board game or putting a puzzle together, something that brings the family together, that just says, hey, look, we can do this, you know. The other thing I would say is give grace to your parents and your siblings. There's more grace required right now. None of us have ever lived through a pandemic before. It's been 100 years since the last one. So none of us, this is all our first time, right? So we don't know how to treat each other, because it's not that maybe you're spending as much time at home as you were before, but it just feels different when it's forced. So, so give more grace. Give more grace to your parents who are trying to teach you Common Core math right now, which is the dumbest thing on the planet. But give more grace to that, you know, like just, hey, look, no, Mom, you got to carry the one, you know. Well, I don't know if you carry the one anymore or not. I'm not sure. You should carry the one if you don't. Okay, please continue to do that. But it's just, you know, when we do that, because the scripture says God's mercy is new every morning. So when we extend extra grace to people, we're being most like God in that moment, because we're leading with mercy. You know, we're leading with grace instead of leading with, I can't believe you just said that to me, or gosh, I can't believe that you're so frustrated, right? And why are you so mad? You know, so when we lead with grace, it helps you and it helps everybody else around you. So those would be the two things that, like, specifically for the pandemic, that I would say those are two areas that I believe the Lord wants us to walk in.
That's so great. Matt, I really appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. I think, I think that's really all. I know that we've gone for about 40 something minutes now. So I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I do really appreciate it. Students, one of the reasons I wanted to get my youth pastor, and he was more than that. He was one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding. But it all started because he was my youth pastor. He was, you know, that figure in my life. And so I built a relationship with him, and I trusted him and stuff like that. But I wanted him on here to really kind of honor him. And I don't know how much honor you can get from a Facebook Live event. But,
man, I definitely feel honored for sure. Really, I do. I really
but
do.
I wanted well, I appreciate it. I wanted to get his thoughts about stuff and how he's doing and things like that, to really show honor to him, because the Bible tells us to honor people and to honor those that have made a difference in our life, and you know, show honor where honor is due. And so I kind of wanted to maybe do that tonight and show honor to Matt and Carrie. I know Carrie couldn't join us, but she's there in spirit, and so just really wanted to honor them and to show them how much I appreciate them. And so really, who can you do that with in your life? Who can you show honor to? And like Matt said earlier, who can you show grace to? Who can you show mercy and love to during this time? I think your parents are a great first step. First option is your parents. How can you honor them during this time? And so, just be thinking about that over the next couple of days. How can you honor people around you and show them God's love? Matt, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anything else you want to say?
Yes, I want to say I don't know anybody in Ohio, in Medina. Am I saying it right?
Yes, Medina. Yes.
Yes, I knew that was right. I was totally confident about that.
Yeah, it took me a little bit.
I don't know anybody in Medina, Ohio, except for Daniel and Liz and Abigail. And I want you to know you have the best of the best. I believe that the Lord gave the church and that community a gift in Daniel and Liz. And I'm not getting paid any extra to say this. I'm honored to be not just involved in this conversation tonight, but to be involved in Daniel and Liz's life, and to see what God's doing in them and how He's raising them up, and how He's ministering through them. And I believe not only do you have the best of the best, but I believe you have the best years of them right now. I think that you're going to receive from them the best parts of who they are in ministry. And so I just want you to know, man, you guys have such a blessing in this couple, and I'm honored to give our best to the mission field of Ohio. It does my heart good. And if you ever become a Buckeyes fan, I will disown you in a heartbeat and will never speak to you again. So there's that.
Well,
Roll Tide.
I don't think you have to worry about that. Roll Tide.
Are we allowed to say that? I don't know. Wait, are we allowed to say that?
Is that copyrighted? I don't know.
I think the live stream just kicked off.
I might get thrown out of the city onto the city streets and stoned. But a big Roll Tide.
Hey, everywhere else they were like, "Hey guys, you need to social distance. For the good of the people." Here in Alabama, our governor said you need to social distance so we can have a college football season. That's how important it is.
Did she really?
She really said that. It was in the midst of other things, but she was like, "Look, if you want to have a college football season," I'm like, "You're speaking our language, KIV. That's good."
Yep, that really. If you start threatening it,
let's take it serious. Come on.
College is making a cure really soon.
That's right. They're already giving it to the athletes. We don't have access to it.
Yeah, it's me. Andy did it a long time ago.
Right.
Matt, I really do appreciate what you said, and we are really blessed to be here. We loved Alabama. I grew up in Alabama. We've been at a couple of different places. We loved it, but we did feel like this is where God wants us, and so we want to be obedient to God. And it's really been a blessing to be here and get to know you students that are watching and our church family. And I agree. I think the best is yet to come. We're really thrilled to be here. So, Matt, again, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm going to hit this little logo right here. I'm actually going to do that and then go to this right here. Thanks for joining us. Y'all have a great night.